Okay, so I'd like to call our meeting to order. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Our first order of business, and why we're running a little bit late, is to swear in the newest member of our board. We have recently had two board members that have moved away or outside of the city, and so we've had to replace those two positions, and we're happy to announce that we have filled one of them. And so we're going to have the official swearing in ceremony at this time.
Jacob, I ask you to come up here. I want to introduce Jake Shockley, who is our newest appointment to the City of Madison Parks Commission. Jake, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Jake Shockley.
I, Jake Shockley.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States of America.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States of America.
And the Constitution of the State of Indiana.
And the Constitution of the State of Indiana.
And I will faithfully.
And I will faithfully.
And impartially.
And impartially.
Discharge my duties.
Discharge my duties.
On the City of Madison Board of Parks Commission.
On the City of Madison Board of Park Commissioners.
To the best of my ability and according to law.
To the best of my ability and according to law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Ask you to sign right up here.
Sign right here. We'll get this to our front here. This one right here.
I'll sign and give this to the clerk. And Jake, please join the rest of the board and perhaps take a minute to share with the community a little bit about yourself.
And hit your little microphone first before you start talking. Yep, there you go, it's on.
Okay. Well, my name is Jake Shockley. I have lived in Madison for 19 years. I have taught in Madison. This will be year number 20. I teach English and journalism and yearbook. I'm currently the girls golf coach. We just started our 8th season. I'm going to be a little busy here to start off, especially we have our work cut out for us. A little green this year. I have I'm married to Jennifer Fowler Shockley. She is a Madison resident, and we have two wonderful kids. Daughter Emma is 11, and son Luke, who is 8.
All right, welcome. We're happy to have you, Jake.
Thank you.
Okay, so one of our board members that moved away was the president, Joe Bronkella. So our first order of business is to elect a new president and a new vice president. And this is going to be pretty simple since there's just three of us.
Me.
Mr. Kane, do you have something you would like to say?
I'd like to nominate you as president.
Mr. Shockley, would you like to second that motion?
Seconded.
I accept. Oh, all in favor of Carla Krebs being the president, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you so much for your confidence. And we also need a vice president. I would like to make a motion to select Phil Kane as our vice president of the park board. Would you like to second it,
Okay.
Mr. Shockley?
I would like to second. Yes, second.
All in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed? Okay, so officially, I will be the president of the park board, and Phil will be the vice president. And thank you for your patience while we did that. Our first order of business is to approve the minutes from last time, which was in May, is that right? June.
June
Okay.
6th.
We did not have a meeting in July because we didn't have enough park board members to have a quorum to do anything. So can I get a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make a
Approve
motion.
the minutes? All right, so there we go. All in favor of approving the minutes from June, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay, it carries. Our next one is new business. Mr. Woolard, I'm assuming this is you talking about Oak Hill, is that right?
Yes, ma'am. If you don't mind, I'll just sit right here since I got all this set up. So what I wanted to do, board and for the public, is just kind of give you a sneak peek of something that we've been working on here. The city has been undergoing a massive infrastructure project there at Oak Hill neighborhood. This overall area is something that affects, surrounded by 245 immediate homes / users, over 5,000 other close people that live in that close proximity. And this is something that is a $1.5 million infrastructure project focusing on accessibility, curbs, stormwater drains, and the overall sidewalks and streets there. This is gonna, sorry about that. This is gonna affect those overall neighborhoods and increase property values across the board. It's gonna lead to a better overall economy for the locals and such, and just really try to improve that neighborhood as a whole. And so with that being said, one thing that we wanted to emphasize is Oak Hill Park. We know that this is one of our local neighborhood parks that we have identified within our master plan as something that needs updated, and much like most of our neighborhood parks, it's suffering from years, and I said decades of deferred maintenance, and so investing in this seems like the appropriate time and opportunity to really give back to the community, to the people in that area. And so this is something that we have been working on with Tony Steinhardt, the Director of Economic Development, Cole Shell, Director of Planning here for the city. And so what we want to do is we've been in contact with a few local companies, 3 to be exact, on possible renderings. So this right here might be an image that you're already familiar with. This is something that we unveiled with our 5-year master plan, and that we unveiled when we came to Oak Hill Park to speak with the local community about maybe what the wants and needs are for that park itself. So this is kind of what we came up with when we were saying blank slate, no amount of money or set aside budget, what do we want? And within that, we have obviously come to a budget, and so because of that, in this talk with the various companies, we've scaled back a little bit. So what we've established are the top priorities for us for this park would be new sidewalks, basketball courts, and some sort of parking that's gonna be help with the accessibility there. Shelter house, that's kind of the staple in the center of the overall park. And within that, it's gonna be kind of, we wanna keep that theme there with the quadrant layout as you see in this first one. 1 second. With that kind of quadrant layout, to go along with kind of our walking paths and the overall accessibility, but having that shelter house there in the center as the concrete sort of function. Also, the playground itself, what we have right there now, frankly, is abysmal. You don't have any sort of surfacing that's appropriate for the children, and the play structure itself is unsafe, to be completely transparent. Within this, we have allocated funding for a fencing that's gonna encompass the entire facility. So it'll be 1 or 2 points of entry, but overall this will be a secured facility, much like how we did with Hargan Matthews with a gate entry point so that a child cannot run out, after a ball or something into the middle of the road. And then within that fencing as well, there would be a dog park fencing to accommodate for those that are up on the hilltop and may not have the means or accessibility for the dog park that would be downtown. This would be a smaller dog park, sort of similar to the small dog park section that we have downtown, so still something that is very usable, just not quite as extensive as what we have downtown on the riverfront. And then overall furniture, recreational items, so this would include overall benches, shade structures, and then the tables and picnic tables and such that would go with our shelter house, and new trash cans, again, that all falls in line with kind of the city standard that we're trying to set here. So within that, these are a couple different renderings for the people that we have talked with. So this is through Columbia Cascade Company. They primarily deal with timber form. So as you can see, this is a more rugged, outdoor, wooded looking structures. A lot of different sensory pieces and such within this, from the swings, ADA accessible in both the standard size swings there, and then you've got a rope structure within it that's an overall climbing and engaging structure. That's something that you're gonna see kind of as a common theme, and that's what I've been learning about from these reps of what the popular equipment is, what the trends are with both Parks and Recreation and then with schools itself, of keeping kids engaged and what kind of playground equipment that they want. And this is not to say any of these are exactly what we're gonna go with. This is just to give some renderings of what our park could potentially look like. So this right here, like I said, is one through Columbia Cascade. This here, there's an option 1 and an option 2. This is through Copeland Concept Designs. We've been working with Melissa with Recreation Insights. And what you've got here is called an Explorer Dome. Capacity of about 50 children or so, ages 5 to 12, and that's again the typical range that you're gonna see for most of these playgrounds. and the same kind of structure that's going to be an overall interactive, engaging, sort of balanced climbing structure. And then with it, you've got a little bit of a seesaw there, and then some spinning mechanisms. The second option that Copeland presented us with, going to be somewhat similar in terms of the engaging kind of immersive structure. Again, focusing on the climbing and the sensory, another sort of spinning structure, and then this one does include a little barn tower there for children a little bit younger to be able to play on. Somewhat similar to what we currently have at that park. So that's the second company, Recreation Insights, and the third one that we've been in contact with is Sinclair Recreation. They represent Game Time. And this one is a little bit more extensive in terms of what all that it has to offer. We are working with that rep and seeing if there's a possibility they do grant opportunities to try to match. But this is just one of the several examples that they have. They call it sort of a playful art structure, so that it's got unique design elements within it, so that it's got artsy kind of movements and feels throughout it, while still being making sure that every single feature of that play structure is something that the kids can use, from climbing to the overall sensory, the accessibility and such, while still being modern, while still kind of keeping true to the heritage of playground equipment. But these are just some examples of some things that we've put together working with these different companies. We are, like I said, working through that budget process. We have funding for certain areas allocated, and now it's coming down to timing. That infrastructure project, if you've gotten a chance to venture through Oak Hill, is coming along fantastic right now. And so I believe the last I saw, they're planning on being finished with that towards the end of the month, beginning of next month. And so this park is something that we would like to get completed in stages as we go along, but have this really ready to go by summer of next year is our intention. Board, do you have any questions over Oak Hill Park kind of as a whole? Any thoughts on these different kind of renderings that you've taken a look at?
I have a question about what will be put under it.
Yes.
You know, you've got wood chips, you've got the rubberized stuff.
What we've talked with all of our companies about is called PIP, Poured in Place, and it's a rubber material kind of similar that you'd see at Harkin Matthews, and it's kind of the design standard nowadays for playgrounds. And you could go with the mulch option, which you have to keep at a certain depth for the requirements of it. But the poured in place seems to be what most are transitioning to, just due to the overall maintenance and upkeep.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the mulch. I was just curious what you were thinking.
Essentially what you'll have is like a fall mat.
Turf versus the chopped up.
Yes, and that's where you can supplement. You want the pour in place to be directly underneath within a certain diameter of the structures that you would be climbing on and such for safety purposes. But then you could supplement with turf or something maybe still synthetic to retain the kind of the maintenance portion of it, while not maybe as expensive as the PIP, kind of like Harkin Matthews.
And have we completely, I know the pickleball court was just, the idea initially. Have we completely eliminated that forever, or just like not in phase one?
So that's why we're saying this is phase one of what we can accomplish for next year. That's the goal. So if we were to do a pickleball court, that would be in phase two. And that's where, again, with that first rendering that we did for the master plan, that was blank slate, what do you want? And so that's where we
In a
put
perfect
together, the 4 quadrants, what each quadrant would entail. And that's where we came up with the pickleball idea. So it's, I don't want to say it can't happen, but it's not a part of this first phase.
I understand that. And then I did clarify this, I think with Mindy at the city council meeting last night. The dog park portion would go in the quadrant that has nothing in it on that first rendering you showed us, correct?
That's correct. So that would be,
Okay.
as of right now, it would have been in that top right quadrant.
Okay.
Longevity on projects like this, how long are they meant to last? I mean,
With
Harding Park has kind of kept up pretty well, but it hasn't
Proper
been that
upkeep
long.
and maintenance, I'll tell you, our parks that we have right now, once the current Oak Hill, it hasn't been touched in decades. And that's without proper maintenance. And to be honest, most of our stuff is in decent enough shape. It's just not changed with the time. So this is something with proper care and maintenance that can last for a few decades.
Is there
Now,
any kind
we
of
should-
guarantee or warranty on the equipment?
Each company will provide some sort of warranty with it. It would just depend on how much money you spend and then what those specific pieces of equipment are. But this is something we'd like to try as we continue through all of these processes on the capital investment throughout all of our parks. So specifically the neighborhood parks, of reinvesting in them, so we don't have to just make one major contribution every 20 years, that we're doing it at maybe every 2, 3, 5 years. So as long as we can stay on top of that maintenance schedule and that reinvestment, there's no reason these can't last for generations.
What's the timing needed for the companies to move forward to be ready for the next summer, to the decision within the budget that we have?
They're laying, the All-Star Paving, who's working with the city on the infrastructure project, they're gonna lay this quadrant out in the sidewalk portion. That'll be the last step of that overall streets project. So once they're complete with that, that gives us the free rein to go ahead and start on our projects here. That's why we're working with these playground companies to get concepts and vision, so that we can go ahead and pull the trigger on whatever it is we decide on. But then we're working with the other companies on the other side. So we've got the benches, the trash cans ordered, the shelter house. We're in contact with the company that just did it down at our sport court last year in 2021. So we can get multiple of these things done through the different contractors at the same time. The park, the playground itself is the one that's gonna take the most time, just because of how extensive that is.
And the capital raising for that, a lot of the costs of the playground, as Matt was saying, All-Star is gonna come in and essentially do the layout. They're gonna finish the concrete work by the end of this month, and then early next month begin the asphalt work. All the subsurface work is basically done. But there's a fundraising element to this particular plan to fully fund the budget with all of the equipment. We're working with the Community Foundation and then also making calls to potential donors to help raise money to offset some of the costs for this equipment. And as you can see, that's a, $300,000 or $400,000 budget, but, this has been, uninvested in for such a long time. Nothing more important than our neighborhood parks. This is a whole new way of doing things with regards to a complete revitalization of that neighborhood that started with the roads, the sidewalks, the stormwater, and now that one has a very, very large park, and that can serve a lot of people, so we want to make sure we get this done by next summer.
Would they all be able to be finished by next summer, or all these projects similar estimated time of completion? Like this option number 2, this one looks like it might be a little more
Be all next summer.
involved, yes.
And what
No matter.
what the board and community needs to do, the BAT, is figure out what's the playground equipment we're gonna install. Cause there's lots of different options, and there's a book the size of a Sears catalog that has all different types of equipments and compartments. You can pick and choose and combine it and assemble it. And then also distill it down to, what would the budget allow us to do to get something done, so that, we don't go years without making the improvement to that park that it's starving for.
But now the pavement and stuff will be done here, I think it's October that the Oak Hill, the
Right.
pavement part.
All done.
So we'll have the sidewalks and the quadrants and everything, but we're saying by next spring or summer, the entire park, the shelter house,
Yeah.
it will all be ready to use, correct?
Right.
Okay.
That's
just
our
double
goal. I know,
checking.
speaking with that last rendering that I had there, with this company, just kind of met with them most recently, they're about 12 weeks out is what their lead
Okay.
time is for completion of work. So,
And that's the provider that's literally got the catalog, the size of the Sears catalog.
Yeah, I'm
all-
familiar with them. Okay, looks good, Matt. I mean, I would love to know what their warranty would be and how long they expect, like Phil said. What can you tell us, how long will this playground be usable and safe for kids?
Yeah.
15 years, 20 years? Like, we want to hear it from
right.
directly from them. Because that would influence, my decision. If this guy's guaranteeing us 15 and this guy's guaranteeing us 25 years, that might sway us one way or the other.
No, you're right.
Okay. Oh, well, it goes right into the Deputy Director Substitute Fill-In, Mr. Neal, giving us the report for Mr. Ison. Neal, you have the stage.
Yes, so I am Deputy Director Ison's intern for this summer. He's currently out sick today, so I'm taking his spot. He gave me his report to go over with you all. So starting off with youth programming, on July 18th, we wrapped up spring/summer baseball and softball. Those were all a huge success. And just a huge thank you to all the players, parents, coaches, and staff, and everybody that worked during those seasons to help it make it such a huge success. Football season is officially underway. Third and fourth grade and fifth and sixth grade tackle football have been practicing for about 2 weeks now. They are going to be playing in the Hoosier Hills Youth Football League again this year. The Jamboree will be played in Jeffersonville on August 13th, and then game schedules are going to be released next Wednesday on the 10th. We're waiting to move forward with flag football until school starts, so it'll be easier to recruit for that program, so we can get into schools and get a better idea of how many kids we're going to get for it and like what the interests are for it. Currently, for third and fourth grade tackle football, we have about 20 kids. Fifth and sixth grade has about 30 kids, and flag football has approximately 27 kids registered. The youth cheerleading program is also open for registration. We're going to leave that open for another week just so we can try and get a few more participants. We have about 16 so far. And this is just a good way for kindergartners through sixth graders to get a good feel, see if they want to do it in junior high and high school. We also, on Monday, we started our youth volleyball camp. Just a big thank you to Katie Napier and Addie Hill and all the other coaches that volunteered to help to put this camp on. Currently, we have 18 children for that as of yesterday. Moving on to adult programming, church and men's league softball is also wrapped up. We had 4 teams in the men's league and 5 teams in the church league. We would like to thank Christian Cable, his wife Jenny, and Eric Ashton for scheduling and staffing those leagues, because without them, it wouldn't have been possible. Pickleball, exercise classes such as Tai Chi, and the walking classes are still operating as normal at the Brown Gym. Those are every day, Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Moving on, we have senior programming over at the senior center across the street. We are happy to announce that Gary Hewitt, our senior coordinator who's been with us for a long time, is back and is feeling much better after his surgery. With him, senior dances have returned, and we also had a lot of solid turnouts since his return. Our dance schedule for August is going to be this upcoming Friday, which is going to feature Old Goats and a Nanny. And then the last week of August, on the 26th, will feature Paul Boggs Band. We won't have any senior dances in the middle 2 weeks of August, as we have Riverfest, and then there's also music in the park. The Senior Citizen Center, as I mentioned, is open Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m., and there's plenty of activities for them to do there, including euchre, bingo, board games, puzzles, ping pong, darts, and the Nintendo Wii. And that's about all I have. Any questions?
Well, you might not be able to answer this, but Matt, do you know if our numbers for the tackle football, have they increased? Are they about the same?
For the older grades, they have increased, but for the younger ones, it has not. We are below on that, but so far, that's why we're trying to keep with that trajectory of 20% for our overall participation. So one's over and one's not.
Okay. And then
What do you mean younger? What,
the fifth grade?
The third and fourth,
third and fourth?
yes, that
But
one
that's
we're.
due to this lack of school not being in session, you think?
It's difficult to get children to sign up when you're outside of school, whether it's reaching every child or reaching the parents while they're busy during summer. You got a lot of distractions in summer. So I think once school starts up, we'll be able to elevate that a little bit more.
So it's our flag football numbers that aren't up yet.
No, those are not yet either. So
Okay.
tackle football is doing well. The fifth and sixth grade is.
Okay.
What's down right now would be the other tackle football that we have,
Okay.
the younger one, third and fourth.
I didn't know
And
we
these
had
are part
it.
of
Yeah,
those, the Hoosier Hills leagues that we're in. So we play and travel, and they travel to us with Floyd Central, Jeffersonville, New Albany, kind of the local Hoosier Hills Conference schools. So we participate in that with. And in flag football, we're running a little bit differently this year than we have the last couple of years since COVID. We've previously done that as just sort of a camp sort of situation, so it hasn't been an actual league with teams and schedules and all that kind of stuff. It's just been a show up, do a couple of drills, and then scrimmage a bit. So we have transitioned back to running an actual flag football league. Still trying to focus on those fundamentals and such, but get the kids to be a little bit more involved, make it a little bit more teamwork oriented and such, and have some more structure to it.
Anything else? Okay. Mr. Willard, we're ready for your director's report.
Okay. since I've got this all hooked up again, if you don't mind, I'll sit right here for this. Glancing over, since we didn't have our meeting back in June 6th, for the campground and Sunrise Golf Course, you've got 2 monthly financial reports there for both June and July. And then you've also got year-to-dates for that, and then I've included projections as well. So I'm not going to go too much in depth on either one of those. Just a couple key takeaways. I'll start with the campground. Just like we said with our program participation, when we had a goal in mind coming in of reaching that 20% across the overall youth participation, the goal with Astra was to increase revenue and occupancy by 20%. So through the end of July, we are up 24% from 2021, which was a record-setting year for this. So we're excited by that direction that we're trending in. We want to continue that here in our final few months of the overall campground. And you'll see there as well with the campground the upgrades. So the last time that we spoke 2 months ago, we had a lot more things on the to be completed, but we've got nearly everything accomplished so far, or it's at least in the works. So we have finished both sets of our concrete stairs, courtesy of B&Z Contracting, have been completed. The only thing that has not is the railing, which will be, it's being completed by Madison Ironworks. It has been ordered. That was several months ago. That should be installed here soon. The bathhouse, both interior and exterior, has been painted. Epoxy flooring has been applied to that base flooring there. The wood fence has been painted, and then we have a vintage graphic from Madison made, Nick Meacham, and then Heights Signs have that installed now too, that overlooks kind of the river and looks great against that peppercorn gray backing there. A landscaping plan with Enviroscape has been completed. We were able to get that accomplished right before Regatta, and we've heard nothing but compliments on how that's looking and helping enhance the overall campground. And then resealing and paving all 34 sites and the drive itself via sedans. That has been completed as well. So the only thing that we have left to do down there, like I said, the railing has been ordered, just waiting on that work to be finished. And then the signage as well, that's been ordered. So we're going to upgrade the signage. That's going to be a gateway entrance point of welcome to the City of Madison campground. And then we're also doing an additional signage that's going to be the layout of the campground. So if you were to say, come in at midnight for whatever reason, you're coming in and you want to see exactly which spot it is, you could go over there to that map, be able to see it, and kind of be a kiosk section that will have some additional information of things to do around town and such, but it will be that overall layout of the campground. So those are the only two things that we have left to be completed, and then our capital upgrades for this year for the campground, we're pretty much all set. So now we're just trying to get through these last 3 months, try to continue this trend of increasing our revenue. And I can't continue to hit on enough how well Astra Book Your Site is doing for us. I feel like we're reaching more people than we ever have before. So we're very inspired by that, those numbers that we're seeing so far from that. So I'll briefly pause right there. If you have any questions, or we have our Doug Buckley here, our campground host as well, if there's any input you'd like to add, Doug.
Well, did I see in our claims that we had paid the Heights Sign Company for a sign already? But
That's
it's
the
not
sign.
up? Like,
It's
I'm
up.
confused.
Yes. it
So
is
which
up.
sign is up then?
So this is a graphic that is on the physical bathhouse. So this isn't an
Okay.
entrance sign or anything. This is just
Okay.
a graphic decal to go against the concrete structure, just to give that some texture and some added.
So we're still
Correct.
waiting for a sign that'll show like the different parking spots, the campsite
Correct.
numbers. And is there also a welcome sign, or just one more
Yes,
sign?
so there's 2 signs total. So one
Okay.
is going to be the layout of the campground, all 34 sites, and the other one is going to be towards the gateway point there, right off of, is that Ferry Street, I believe?
Yeah.
And that's just going to be the welcome to the City of Madison campground.
Okay, so
Yes.
no updates on those, because I mean, you told us you'd ordered them back in June.
Those are, it's just kind of like the railing. Those are going to be big, beautiful signs that they're just taking some time for those to get
Okay.
finished.
Put a little pressure on them, will you, Matt?
I can take care of that.
Because I will say, like, I did walk down to the campground a couple weeks ago to see everything, and it was really nice, and I've also received very good feedback from a few local people who've stayed there, so we've done a good job on investing that money
Got
back
much
into the
better curb
campground.
appeal than it-
Yeah.
than it did previously.
Yes. With Sunrise Golf Course, like I said, you've got your financials in front of you for the past 2 months and then your year-to-date projections. Events that we have coming up, August 14th, the Boys and Girls Club Golf Scramble be taking place there. And then on August 20th, our 5th event in the Sunrise Tournament Series. This is going to be a 4-man team scramble. So that anybody is welcome to participate in those. Roger's really been focusing on getting leagues up and going, which we have 3 different going on throughout the weekdays, and then the tournament series. So doing different formats and experimenting, just to give our golfers, both those that are regular members and those that may not play all the time and not be members with us, the opportunity to compete against friends and people you may not know in different kind of formats of that. So we are excited to continue to try new things there in conjunction with Golf Now. The big takeaway for me on this, if you look at that overall year-to-date stuff, is one thing that we've been saying we want to do is level the playing field when it comes to season pass rounds versus paid rounds. In 2021, we were sitting at about 73% season pass rounds versus 27% of paid rounds. And this year, so far, year-to-date, we're up to 45% of our over rounds played there are paid. So Golf Now is helping to level that playing field a little bit, and we're very excited by that number. And again, we want to see that continue to invert so that we can have a flip of that, so we can continue to make money every day. So all of our money, our revenue is not coming in January and February. We're going to have that sustainable income throughout all 12 months of the year.
So my only question on the Sunrise stuff is on the grill operations page, where you have all of the
Yes.
numbers, where, under the payroll division, we have Jordan's salary there, obviously. And then the seasonal grill personnel, because I work there one day a week, I know that we have a lot of kids rotating in there, but why is there no number there on what we're paying them?
Because predominantly I've been associating that cost to Jordan, since he's been the one that's mainly had his hand in it. And in terms of the coordination of cooking, of the overall food and beverage management, it has been strictly on him. And so that will kind of continue to expand. I now have Roger overseeing all of the scheduling for that.
Right?
But right now I feel like he is the main one who has been kind of handling the entire grill operation. So I've associated that cost primarily with him.
So you're putting the money that we're paying the other workers
Yes.
into the Jordan number?
So that's going to be factored in strictly with Jordan. I've got the others factored in with just the general pro shop work, because
Okay.
they are doing some of the food and beverage, but they're not so
They
much
do
of the
carts and
cooking.
other things,
They're
you're
doing the
right.
carts. They're going to do the tea times check-ins and that kind of thing. The portion that
Okay.
they're doing of the concession side is very, very small. It's maybe just grabbing a fountain drink and that's it.
So I would see those seasonal grill personnel numbers in the other page?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
Like, it was listed there, so I was like, why is there no
Yes.
number? I know people are working.
And
Okay.
that's why, until we have someone in there that's more focused on that grill side, that's the only reason I haven't
Okay.
attributed that number yet.
Are there set hours for the grill?
Yes, right now they're operating Wednesday through Sunday, and so that he's working from 8 a.m. to about 3 p.m. We've been changing that trajectory of what we want that to be. At the beginning of the year, we wanted that to be a full-blown restaurant, and that was kind of our envision. And then the feedback that we've received from the community was that we need to scale it back. A little too expensive, a little too big of portion sizes. And so we've scaled back the menu. We've reduced our portion sizes for that. Instead of, it was a half-pound hamburger, now we've cut that down to a quarter-pound. Trying to make it a little bit more quick grab-and-go type of foods. Same thing with all of our other things that we're offering with the candies and the soft drinks and all that, just trying to make it more convenient for people. And so that's been the primary hours. Since Mondays, we don't open till 11 anyway due to the scheduling with the chemicals and such, and then giving Jordan another day off throughout the week.
Why 3 o'clock though?
Because we see our play drop off tremendously past 2 p.m. And so we've been trying to coordinate it basically when we have more golfers at the clubhouse.
Okay.
And that's been why. So this is still kind of a trial and error basis. This is our first year operating the concession business from that perspective. And we're still trying to figure out what's our best avenue moving forward.
One thing, and Jake's there more than I am, and a lot of people are there more than I am, but, you know, I think we ought to talk to them, because now you've got all those high school kids during the fall, you know, coming in at what, 3:30, 4 o'clock, all fall.
Parents.
Parents coming in to watch them. Those high school meets are going on. I don't know, it's something to look into, because that could be extra revenue. I understand it's extra, you know, hours for an employee, but that's probably dinner time for all those parents and
You're-
kids while these golf matches are going on.
I would say from personal experience, there is an opportunity there.
Yeah, you're right, and that's where we try to coordinate whenever there's an event such as
Okay.
the outings and stuff to make sure that we have adjusted the hours to where they'll be there for that. Because you're right, high school kids are hungry and they're going to come in and they spend money.
We have an invitation on the 13th, as a matter of fact. So-
That's easy enough. Before I move on, is there any more questions on Sunrise? Move on to the Parks General.
I want
Yeah,
to
go
make
ahead.
sure, did we miss the claims approval?
We didn't have to do that because we didn't meet last month. They went through the Board of Public Works and already did that
Okay,
Okay,
without us.
okay.
thank you.
You're welcome.
For our general parks, something I wanted to highlight was the Play in the Park series. So this is something new that we've done this year. We've done this in conjunction with Mayor Courtney, the other city officials, police department, communications department. And we've selected a few different dates throughout the summer that we have invited children throughout the community and anybody that's involved, not only in our programs, but just wants to be a part of what we're doing, to come out and play with the city officials, with the police officers, various games and activities. So we've held 3 of these so far. We did our last one most recently at the Brown Gym, and we've held 2 others at the at Rucker Sports Complex alongside the Boys and Girls Club, and then down at Kiwanis ball field that we were able to do. And so overall, throughout our 2 main ones with the Boys and Girls Club and Kiwanis, we had over 75 children participate in that. We got to play kickball, wiffle ball. The mayor went out there, and I think he was bullying some kids and hitting home runs and such. No, we had
Strain my hamstring.
we had a lot of fun with that, and I think it was a really good opportunity for the community to come out with city officials, with the police officers and such, and be able to participate with everyone. So this is something we would like to try to do a little bit more frequently when we know that there are breaks and lulls in schedules, so specifically summer. If there's any opportunity to host something in the Brown Gym during winter break or maybe a fall or spring break, just to try to get kids a little bit more active. And it doesn't always have to be sport focused. It could be something such as when we have Oak Hill Park ready to unveil of doing the play date out there, or it can be different things like that. But it's something we want to try to do to just be more engaging and interactive with the kids. So when we do host those, we will be sure to continue to promote them. And I would invite all the park board members, if you're available, I know you have busy schedules, that it's really a wonderful time with the kids. For John Paul Park, been in contact with the Daughters of the American Revolution. So far, with plans that we are working on with them, they've spoken with Envirescape about doing a landscaping plan at the original fountain location. Just trying to beautify that area because it is a very massive fountain area that no longer is in use. So we're kind of working through what that would look like, since they do have some funds that they would like to allocate. The paths there have been redone thanks to Tony Sorrells and the street department. And we're currently working on installing restored benches that we've got and some lighting down there. That we're trying to continue to keep John Paul Park, and we're talking about the hillside portion, keeping it with the theme that it was intended to be. And that was kind of a walk-through time, transcendent sort of location that just kind of took you out of what everything else is going on and just let you kind of relax and enjoy that scenic route.
Hey, man, on the topic of John Paul Park, the street department's done a really good job of, with their new equipment, mowing the hillside there that's on the south side of John Paul Park. But the east side, that's right there adjacent to Presbyterian as it goes down, or, what is that, Vine Street as it goes down toward the creek. That doesn't look like it's been mowed in quite some time. If you
Yeah.
could check on that, because I know that there's a wall there, and it's a good place for spectators watch some softball games, but it's all overgrown. So if you could
okay.
have the street department look into that, that would be a big improvement.
Yeah, not a problem. For another point that I had there on rec desk, so something that we are evaluating. So as we came into 2021, an initiative that we had was to consolidate the overall park system, make that an online platform and database. And so with that, we ended up we ended up evaluating and going with rec desks. And since then, we have transitioned to where golf now is what we're using for the golf course. Astra, Book Your Site, is what we're using for the campground. And then we still do use rec desks for all of our traditional programming, our facility reservations, overall kind of POS system and such, and reporting. So since we have narrowed our focus on that, we are evaluating current options if rec desk is our best solution going forward, or if there's something else that maybe is a little bit more program focused, that's maybe more user friendly, is going to help the community sign up more. That's our goal, is just to find something that's the most convenient, ease of use for the community, so that we can get them registered, signed up, and participating in all of our programs, whether it's sports related or not. So if Park Board, if you have thoughts on that as we kind of move forward with it, would love to hear input. If you've had, I know Phil, you've coached various leagues through us. If you do enjoy rec desk or don't, I'd love to hear, pros and cons and such as we kind of progress through all this. I just want to put that on your radar.
No, I think it's been good. I mean, we dealt with it with baseball and then now football, and it's just getting people to use it because they're so used to the paper. But
It's a big change going from paper for
yeah,
however many years to that.
I would keep with it because it was pretty easy once we went through it the second time.
Yeah, and that's where we're just evaluating to see what's out there now that we've got a little bit more narrowed focus. And so we may come back and realize rec desk is our best option, but that's something we'll be reaching out to some of our local coaches and those that are involved just to kind of see what thoughts are and such.
It's nice to be able just to shoot out the link and let parents do it themselves.
I agree.
I think the big thing for me is, like, every time I go to the city page and then I go to the Parks Department, if they could just, and I've talked to Hannah about this over and over again.
Yeah.
We go round and round. Just make that rec desk link like bigger, brighter, obvious, that if you want to go to our real Parks Department page, which is what I think it really is, go to rec desk. It's like, I have looked and looked on that page before and gotten so frustrated. And technologically, I'm not illiterate. And I'm like, where is the information? So it's like making the information so obvious that when a person goes to the City of Madison page and then to Parks Department, oh, there's the link. I need to go there for some arrows, flashing lights, colors, whatever. I'm serious, like, just to highlight it more. And I know she's all about keeping with the colors and everything, and that's great, and I can respect that. But I just feel like it can be a little more obvious to click on that link.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because then once you click on it, then like Phil says, it's pretty self-explanatory from then on. But it's finding that link. I'm always like, where is our information for the Parks Department?
Right.
Well, it's on the rec link.
And that's what we're continuing to try to promote, Parks and Recreation. So that's something I'm going to hit on just in a second. But we can always do better when it comes to our social media, when it comes to our advertising, whether it's radio, newspaper, you name it, we can always do more.
And I feel like we are getting better. We are doing a better job of getting the word out.
We're trying. And then the last little tidbit that I have for you before I show you a quick video is just a brief Crystal Beach update. So I know we've been undergoing this project for several months now, and we still are working through the plans right now with the city, with our engineering team, design team, on what Crystal Beach is going to look like, what that's going to become. But just like anything else, we're running into continued issues when it comes to the structural findings that we have uncovered, and then the overall funding of what it's going to take to do this properly. Mayor Courtney has said this isn't going to be another Band-Aid. We're going to fix it properly this time. And so I know that you're not seeing a brand new slide go up right now, so people think that nothing's being done, but we are actively working on that at this time. It's taken some time, and we're doing our due diligence to make the best informed decision that we can with what we've got. So just a brief update on that. I hope that we have more that we can share with everyone here in the coming weeks and months, but just wanted to give a brief upload
Emphasis
on that.
on weeks. We really, this is if I might add,
Yeah,
I just
absolutely.
might add that it's a complicated project that's really been underway for several years, starting with the pool house restorations and then the incorporation of pool renovations. The pool house really ought to be completed by next month. That's bringing some fantastic, beautiful, updated, ADA accessible, year-round useful space to us that has not been available to the community for quite some time. But what we also learned was the structural integrity of the pool itself is compromised, as well as the equipment for treating the water. There's water leakage. Now what we're doing is putting together a plan that we can execute, a plan that really brings to fruition our goal of extending the pool availability to the community for the next 50 years. It's an 85-year-old pool that has basically, come to the end of its useful life, unfortunately. That requires a lot of engineering, a lot of geotechnical, a lot of design, architecture, consulting. It requires a financial plan. It requires the creation of a vehicle in which we are going to do financing. It's a multi-million-dollar park asset that's important to the community that we have to make the proper investment in. That has not seen the proper maintenance and investment for quite some time. It's probably been 15, 16 years since there's been any investment in the pool of a material amount. It's been 3 decades since the city has made a material investment in its park system. And now everything's kind of coming, I would say the check is coming due. But we are committed to being solution-oriented, and we have a plan. And we will be rolling out that plan by the end of this month.
And I would just say
More to come on that.
to
Yeah.
the public that we have, this is important. It's just as important to us as it is to you. I know that sometimes it doesn't appear that way, but I feel like I can guarantee you from sitting on the design meeting earlier this week that it is going to be worth the wait. That there's been a lot of thought put into this and a lot of preparation, and I do not think you will be disappointed when we finally reveal what we're going to do. And I think it'll be an attraction that we will get people driving to come here to be in our pool. I really believe that, from surrounding counties. That's how excited I am about the project. So bear with us a few more weeks until we reveal to you.
I'd like to comment. I was really impressed with the update that we were given recently. But to me, it's an important piece of this community and can be even a bigger piece than what it has been. But it's totally a safety issue for me and for a lot of people, it should be. It's a huge safety issue right now, and I think it's going to be addressed and be much better than what we've been used to. So,
More to come, much more to come. Thank you.
Hang with us.
Okay. Let me see.
Did you make this, Matt?
So, what I wanted to show, we're going to unveil it tomorrow officially,
Okay.
is we've been working with a production company the city of Madison has. If you saw Mayor Courtney's blight elimination project, which that video was unveiled a few months ago or so, working on different highlights throughout the city. So parks was the number 2 thing that we decided the city did was going to be emphasized in these videos. So this doesn't have absolutely everything, such as like Oak Hill and Crystal Beach. Those will be part of other videos. But we are excited to be able to actually unveil this
It's part of the Madison
coming
on the Move
tomorrow.
series.
Mhm. Madison is a very blessed community. We have such a comprehensive park system spanning 220 acres. That includes 27 different parks and facilities. And within that span, you've got municipal golf course, campground with over 34 sites, multi-sports complex, dog park, and then your entire riverfront essentially is a park in our backyard here. So we've got a very good system in place for all of our citizens and the hundreds of thousands of people that visit each year. At the end of 2020, did some analysis and found that the parks was losing and leaking money through a couple different areas. So the main biggest one that we found was with the golf course. We realized that the golf course was losing upwards of $400,000 a year. Span that out over a couple of decades, there's a couple $1 million that was just being leaked out from our entire park system. One of our big endeavors was just creating fiscally responsible facilities. With the campground, we were able to double our profits within 1 year, and with the golf course, we're able to reduce the deficit by over $250,000. We're trying to continue that trajectory and that trend so that we can create more capital and revenue to reinvest into our park system.
Mayor Courtney has been fantastic to give me the liberties to try some of the online items that I've used in my past experiences to help bring our golf course forward. Made significant investments on the inside renovations to the golf shop to spruce it up and improve our pro shop inside, and just the experience the customer has when they come off the golf course to make it a whole golf experience. The golf course should be the breadwinner of all the park systems, and we want to help develop other parks in the area, the dog park and the riverfront and the campground and Crystal Beach and all of that. And the tools that the mayor's given me to advance this as a business is going to pay off in the future for us.
Parks and Recreation is essential to the overall quality of life for the city of Madison. We did a survey earlier in the year leading up to our 5-year master plan, and the overwhelming result from that survey was that people place a very high emphasis on outdoor recreation. And especially on the heels of COVID, you're seeing more and more emphasis put on that, on outdoor recreation, on the benefits that has mentally and physically for those of all ages. And so that's one great thing about our park system, is that we do cover youth, adult, and seniors in terms of all of our programming, and then also in terms of all of our facilities, trying to make them multi-generational so that it's not just focused on one set demographic or age group, so that it can really be a place for the whole family. And that's what I think Mayor Courtney and this administration has really tried to focus on with Madison: creating investment, bringing in outside business, doing things a little bit differently, and being business-minded that is going to help improve the quality of life so that people want to not just visit here, but they want to stay here.
This year, we've expanded our baseball and softball down to the T-ball level, which is something that the Parks Department of Madison hasn't done in 20-plus years. We're looking at more avenues to attract kids and adults and seniors to all of our programming. Our goal at the start of 2022 was to increase all programming by 20% with participation numbers, and with the basketball season that we had in the beginning of the year and into our baseball, softball, and t-ball, we've already expanded our programming 20% with participation numbers.
All right, something else that we've been working on throughout the park system is the upgrades. So I've talked about the years of deferred maintenance and stuff. We're working on upgrading the neighborhood parks as well as all of our recreational outdoor activities, just trying to give back to the community, trying to make that investment a priority, working towards keeping Madison clean, safe, and beautiful. So I just want to show you all that. We will share that on our platforms tomorrow, so please, if you see that on Facebook or such, share, like, comment, so we can continue to promote Madison Park System as a whole, and continue to get that message out there as we move forward towards the end of 2022. But that is just on the heels here of the end of Parks and Recreation Month, which was July. So we were hoping to have that finished, but we had some editing to get accomplished with that. So thank you to Hannah Fagan, the communications department, and the production team that she's working with for those videos that we've been unveiling.
Nice. Is that it for you?
Yes, ma'am.
I have a couple of questions. Have we had any progress on the golf hole sponsor signs? We had sold like 10 of them as of June. We were going to go ahead and order them, I thought, and get them up to try to get more people to buy.
Last that I saw, we're at 12 on that spreadsheet, so I'll double check that to see where we're at.
But have we purchased any to start installing them?
I've been in contact with I think his name's Ed, on those signs, and we're working through the designs of that, because what he sent over was just a very basic blank conceptual, just like we see with these park renderings. So we're trying to finalize those design plans, and then yes, they will be ordered. So that's something that will be ready to go for next year, but we hope to have all that installed in the off season.
Okay, because I really feel like we might be able to sell more.
Once people see those,
right?
They're fantastic looking with they're rich with the black iron, the gold lettering and such.
Okay, stay on that, Matt.
Look great.
And then also, I'm wondering about the progress of Pearl Park.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you had told us you were working with, I think, John Nyberg and also Bill Barnes, through the foundation. Where are we standing there? Have we secured funds to button up those hatches and fix the windows and put locks on doors?
There are funds available through the Community Foundation with their specific Pearl Park fund that we do have access to that would be strictly for those sort of repairs. It cannot go towards things such as the general upkeep or the mowing, weed eating, and the labor, but it can go towards things like repairing some of those windows and the paint and such. So that's where John Nyberg had kind of volunteered and taken the lead on that, on working on developing what that exact plan needs to look like. So I'll get back in touch with him just to follow up and see where we stand on that. But it is something that we need to get accomplished.
And maybe Mr. Nyberg could come to our next meeting and
Yeah, I'll be happy to
update
invite
us
him.
and tell us what he's
Yeah, 'cause
thinking.
I thought there was another organization that was responsible for the maintenance of those buildings that were moved there, not the city. There was a funding plan by the foundation, and I thought there was also an agreement by another organization. They were responsible for the maintenance of the buildings.
And that could
I know
be
it's on our property, but they were moved there
Right.
with the understanding and an agreement that they would be maintained by another body.
And that could be who he's referring to when we've been speaking about this, but since I've been here, there has been no maintenance or upkeep with it. So to me, I think it's gonna fall in our lap.
Or at least we'll,
Would that be in the agreement with the community foundation?
Yes. It wasn't Cornerstone, it was a historical society that wasn't Jefferson County Historical Society or Cornerstone or Historic Madison. It was another group that was formed for the buildings at Pearl Park.
Yeah, I'm on the board at the History Center, and we've had some conversation about this, so I can give you a little bit of an update. All the buildings have now been locked.
oh, good.
So no people are living in them. And there was an organization found that is essentially, no one is left in the organization. It's one of those,
Oh,
of the many nonprofits that just disappeared with people dying and such. But the money is still there, and Bill Barnes is very careful about making sure that it is still being used for what is necessary. And the Historical Society is working
Good.
with Matt to make sure that those things are taken care of. But it is a city park.
right.
So, yes, so, anyway, any other questions about Pearl Park that I could take back to John? I'll see him tomorrow.
No, thank you.
Okay.
It's good to know that they are locked up now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jen.
And I do have some stuff about the pool when you're ready.
Yes, that is next on our agenda, the open forum. One more question for you, Matt.
Yes.
Last time you also said that John Nyberg was doing some research on a water tower that was near the
So-
campground and the historical
So
significance.
we've sent some emails back and forth about the towers that are down at the campground. We're trying to show the historical significance of those, so working on some sort of medallion commemorative landmarks to just kind of signify that. So that's something else when I speak with them, I'll follow up on.
Okay. And the last thing I have is the park bench that was going to be installed at Hargan Matthews in honor of Brock Johnson. That was brought up at our last meeting. Has that been purchased, installed? Where are we on that?
I have
And
not-
do we have anything to do with that, or is that the person that's donating it?
We just were basically submitting approval that it was okay to
Okay.
get that bench done. So I have not heard anything on that update, if it has actually been installed or not.
Okay.
They just wanted to come to us to make sure that was okay.
Okay. All right, anything else, guys, before we go to public?
This might be a question for Roger. How was the first heat program, though? Do you have any idea?
It's been going very, very well. Nothing but positive feedback so far on that. I think at the last one that they had, overall, I think there were 17, 18 kids that have been participating in that. So it was kind of nice to see in that video some clips of the kids, and I got to sit out there and watch them for a bit. And they're having fun with it. And the first tee is more designed on the character development of the children, not so much of can you go out and be a scratch golfer. And I think that's really taking with a lot of these kids that I think you'll see that program continue to build because of that kind of fundamental and character development that's being instilled with it.
We wrapped that up on Tuesday, was our rain day, because we missed one day, and it's been hugely successful.
Great.
Yeah, and getting lots of calls about the next session, people wanting to get started because they've heard about it.
Very good.
So, Coach Shockley, if you have any young players, please send them our way to the
I
first
do.
tee,
Well,
and
my daughter plays, but we just had such a busy summer, we couldn't get her there this year. But she will be there in the future.
we'll hold you to it.
All right, at this time, I will open up for public comments. If you would like to address the board, please come, state your name, and talk away.
Not too long. I'm Jan Vatrews. I live at 701 East Second Street. Welcome to the Park Board.
Thank you.
And I do want to thank you all for taking the time to invest in Crystal Beach and do it right. However, I also want to make sure that you start right now also planning how you're going to manage and program Crystal Beach. You can have a beautiful facility, but if you don't manage it well, it's not going to pay for itself. And that doesn't mean just charging higher prices. It means starting now to recruit lifeguards. It means actually hosting and training lifeguards and providing that as a service to other people in the community. I'm sure you've all read how hard it is for all pools to find lifeguards. You've got to think out of the box. Why is it that teenagers aren't wanting to be lifeguards anymore? Address that now. Don't wait until the pool opens and say, oh, I guess we can't be open because we don't have lifeguards. The other thing that you should know, those of us that are using other pools, we have the most incredible opportunity to have a competitive advantage from anything around here. If you're a working adult, you cannot use Crystal Beach except on the week, or you cannot use the pool except on the weekend at Clifty. You can't use it at all now because it's closed for the season. But the pool closed at 5:45. If people wanted to take their kids there in the summer, they had to take off from work. The hottest time of the day is after 5 o'clock. It doesn't get dark until 9 o'clock. I mean, it is absolutely poor management that you do not use your pool as many hours as possible for as long as it is, as the weather is possible. Closing at the drop of a hat, not having consistent hours, all of that just reinforces the fact, oh, well, let's not drive there because chances are it may not even be open. Or you call ahead and it's open, and by the time you get there, it's closed. These are all management problems. They have nothing to do with the pool itself or with investing millions of dollars in creating a great pool. So please, you took the time to hire a golf pro to manage the golf course. Think about how you're going to manage the pool now while you've got some time before it's open. Otherwise, it's going to be the same mess that it always is. And you're not going to get your money back. But you have an opportunity to do some incredible things with the new pool, new bathhouse, as long as you have new management thoughts, okay? Just doing the same old thing in a new facility isn't going to change anything. And that's my speech, and I'll be pushing you for those plans every meeting. Thanks.
We would expect no less, John.
Of course.
I accept your challenge. Thank you. Seriously, thank you for your comments. Anybody else?
Lisa Ferguson. I just had a question. This has been my week of meetings. I went to a Republican women's meeting Monday night at Harry's, and they asked a question, which I was like, oh, I'm going to Parks, I can find that out. Since the pool house part should probably be open October, let's just think October, will it be rentable before the pool opens in the summer? Like, will you be able to rent it as a family reunion or Republican women's Christmas party specifically? Like, is it gonna be an income thing before the pool can open? And I was like, I'll find out.
Ideally, that's the goal, but we're gonna have to coordinate that with the project managers to make sure we're not impeding on anything that they're doing
Okay.
with the overall pool work. So as long as we can get the okay from them, because they are separated, but I still don't know if there's gonna be any overlap as they're moving materials and everything that they've got going on with the construction. So they'll be able to give us the answer if we're okay to do that or not.
And I would say, most definitely that's our goal.
Okay.
There's a separate entrance to the second floor that's separate than the pool entrance now. So we now have full accessibility, both separate from the pool, but we will have what we didn't anticipate, but we are now encountering, we'll also have an active construction site ongoing for the next year that we didn't anticipate because of bifurcating the two projects. But there is a separate entrance to the second floor, and it's our goal to, we've got
think it'd be, a waste of the investment if we don't make that happen.
Yeah.
It's
That's what we
beautiful
were-
space. I just saw it yesterday.
We were already looking at the December Christmas party schedule going, well, it would be awesome if we could be the first ones to rent the pool house. And I was like, well, maybe there's a calendar already, I don't know. So I just
We
said,
have
by
to
the next
develop-
meeting, I'll
develop that.
let them know that.
We have to
Okay,
develop all of that still.
okay, thanks.
I'd say there's a good, I mean, a 50-50 chance.
Oh, more than 50/50.
I think so too.
And Jake, we would invite you also to take a tour of Crystal Beach, so you'll see the scope of the restorations that have happened, and also the scale of the work that needs to happen in order to bring the pool back online next summer.
I guess I'd also be remiss to say, I hope part of the redesign is cameras and lots of lighting.
We did speak about lighting at least on Monday, didn't we? That was part of our discussion. Okay, anything, Mr. Mayor, do you have any comments? This is your time.
I'm happy to be here. First of all, let me say, it's exciting to see all the changes happen. You know, 2.5 years ago, we started working on the parks restructuring. None of you were here, and none of us were here, you know, as predecessors in the management of the parks, or, you know, the year that has been spent since putting together a capital plan. There's nothing more important to any community, and particularly Madison, than its quality of life, and its quality of life is tremendously dependent on outdoor recreation. We boast, as this video and Matt was describing, tremendous park system for the community of our size. It's not just, you know, facilitating our community, but the county and the region as well. It's not just for the city of Madison. We don't make any distinction of where you're from when you enjoy all the different parks. However, we also have a lot to maintain, and we have a lot to upgrade. That was the reason so much time was spent on capital planning, so that we would have a plan and a strategy. We can surround that then with the right amount of energy and goals and objectives, and put together also the financial plan in order to upgrade our parks. A lot has already happened. I'm tremendously excited about what we've done with systems, moving from paper to using technology, putting the power, you know, of our parks in the hands of the consumer. Upgrades we've already done at Rucker Sports Complex, the City of Madison campground, the Sunrise Golf Course, and then the multi-million-dollar investment that's happening right now with Crystal Beach, and then fill in the blanks with regards to the riverfront. Last night at City Council, we gave a presentation on a grant process that we have been working on also for the past year called the Ready Grants. We formed, among other things, a plan called Destination Madison. We applied for, as part of a Regional Development Authority grant that went statewide, we applied for funding for about 6 projects called Destination Madison. The City of Madison and Jefferson County, which is part of this 5-county RDA, we were successful in working with the RDA at the state level to receive a $50 million grant, which was only one of 5 at the maximum amount statewide. That money now has gone through another, you know, critiquing level with the administrator of the grant, working with the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. And now the methodology and the announcement has been made. The City of Madison is receiving approximately $2.6 million for its Destination Madison plans, which will fund about 3 of the 6 projects that we had submitted. Hanover College, we're very proud to say, in collaboration with Ivy Tech, received $5.9 million for its collaboration of a vet tech clinic, vet tech teaching center at Hanover College. So Jefferson County itself received almost 20% of the $50 million that was awarded to the RDA. All of this has a regional aspect to it. We're working with Clark and Floyd and Scott and Washington and Jefferson County as that RDA, and all of this is about, you know, what do we do about our gateways? What do we do about our parks? There was water projects in there, sanitation, things that build capacity across the community. We are spending tens and tens of millions of dollars in the City of Madison now building capacity.
The Ready Grant funds, as it relates to parks directly, is funding the new gateway improvements. As you come across the bridge, City of Madison had already acquired both sides of that street, of Harrison Street, and now we'll be going out to bid in just a couple of weeks for the new gateway improvements there. We're also going out to bid for the Mulberry Street Arts Corridor improvements that are, essentially doing infrastructure improvements around arts and entertainment, and the mural there. That's also diagonally going to be a new neighborhood market over the course of the next year. All of that to say is that there's nothing more important than what we can do than invest in our community. That investment is going to attract additional investment. We also submitted a workforce development plan. It did not get funded as part of the Ready Grant, but there'll probably be a second round of Ready Grants next year when Governor Holcomb has already expressed his interest in expanding that program because of how successful it is. We already broke ground on approximately $100 million worth of new investment on the hilltop. And that doesn't include the Clifty Drive sidewalks, the improvements on intersections, NDOT's paving of Clifty Drive, widening of northern part of Wilson Avenue, more traffic management, improved stormwater engineering that will help address the flood mitigation project we have going on downtown. All of you have worked really, really hard to get us here, to put together the plan. Now what we need to do is execute and pull together the financing through the form of some level of capital bond. As I mentioned earlier, I think I might have said it here, or maybe telling Jake earlier, it's been 30 years since the City of Madison issued a bond to invest in its parks. They've done it once, and they did it 30 years ago. And 30 years later, first of all, we appreciate all the investment they made back then because it literally propelled City of Madison parks forward. Now it's our job to upgrade, maintain, and continue that investment. And we're gonna do the best that we can to follow our capital plan. And one by one, we are going to be upgrading these neighborhood parks that are so critical to the vibrancy of our entire community, but all of the public areas like on our riverfront and across the community. But it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of focus and a lot of attention, but we're going to get it done, and you're going to see continued transformation. I think we have been transforming parks for the last 2 years with good planning and good investments, and the next couple of years are going to see continued transformation, and that's what is so important for our community. So I want to thank you guys for all your work. Jack, I'm going to thank you in advance for all of the time and attention you're going to be dedicating to the Parks Board, to the Golf Board, and again, helping lead the community in making its investments that's so critical for the City of Madison and the region.
Well, thank you for putting your trust in me.
Yeah.
Hope to do some good.
Thank you, Mayor Courtney. At this time, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn our meeting.
Seconded.
Wait, can you make the motion?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn our meeting.
I'll second it.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Meeting adjourned.